What's up, YouTube? This is your boy JB, and I'm here today with the review for The Oval. This is season 1, episode 6, and I'm so sorry, you guys, that I did not, do the video on Wednesday. I actually did not know that the episode was coming on Wednesday. And then I wasn't at home. I was actually with spent the night with my family. So I, woke up on Thanksgiving there. So didn't have my setup here. So, we're back home now. I just finished the episode. It was an okay episode. It was, again, like I said last week, the acting is off to me. More specifically, like Barry's acting is off, and so is Miss Nancy's acting. But overall, I do enjoy this show. It's just some of the acting is just not good. And let's before we even get into the video, if you guys are not already subscribed to my channel, take a minute to go over and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just jump right into the episode. Alright, you guys, so this week's episode, I don't remember if it picked up where it ended last week, but we saw Sharon. So Sharon, she was at the the pharmacy that she and Kareem work at. So, she and Kareem were still talking about the whole Barry situation, how Barry treats her, and we find out we go a little bit deeper into Kareem and Sharon's story. We find out that they actually were involved with each other, but somewhere along the lines, Kareem fucked shit up with their relationship. So, he's just like, Barry's not this and Barry's not that. She's like, stop talking so negatively about Barry. And we heard the door open. And I'm like, y'all didn't hear this customer somebody just walked into this pharmacy, and y'all not gonna say, oh, how are you doing? Do you need help finding anything? How can we help you? Y'all just gonna continue y'all very public conversation about Barry, and I'm just like, so y'all didn't, I'm like, really, y'all didn't hear that door? It just ding, ding, like y'all not gonna, whenever you're in a store or somewhere where you sell a product, and you hear your door open, you always greet the customer, but they didn't greet the customer. So, again, like I said, Sharon is trying to just tell, Kareem, mind your business. So when she walks, around the corner, there says Barry. And Barry's like, so you've been talking to this chump about me? And she's like, no, I wasn't talking to him about you. So then Kareem comes around and he says, no, she wasn't talking about you. She was actually kind of defending you, telling me to let it go. And Kareem Barry doesn't want to hear that. He's like, I won't talk to you. I was talking to her. So then they just going back and forth, and I'm like, this is not making any sense. This is actually stupid. And again, Barry's acting horrible. So then, Barry tells Kareem, so she quits and she's coming with me. She's like, I'm not gonna quit. I'm not leaving with you. So Barry grabs her by her hand and he's trying to drag her out of the store. And there's a lady in the store. She's like, do I need to call the cops? Kareem says, yes, call the cops. Sharon says, no, ma'am, don't call the cops. Kareem says, yes, call the cops. Again, Kareem is saying, it's just back and forth. So, as they get ready to go outside, Kareem grabs Sharon, is like, no, she's not going anywhere. So then he and Barry get into this, I can't call it a fight because I don't know what that was, because when he pushed him and then he pushed him into the aisle, it was just like it was just like they would just, ring around the rosy type of stuff. And it just, he did start punching him. And then I'm like, so Kareem is just gonna sit here and you're just gonna sit here and let homie just continue to pound you in your face. But eventually Kareem did get on top of him, but I'm just like, what are we doing? Like this, that just did not look like any kind of real fight scene to me, but we just gonna let them have that one, but it just did not look like a fight scene. So then, Barry's like, okay, Sharon, you're coming with me. She says, no, I'm not coming with you. He says, you're coming with me. She says, I am not. He says, you're coming. He just kept saying it. I'm like, didn't she just tell you once? No. And he says, okay, so you're not coming with me? Don't come home tonight. I'm like, what? So you want her to quit her job because you just got into a fight with her boss? How dumb is that? None of that made sense. So then we also did see Barry. So Barry went to see Picky, and Barry's, Picky was like, damn, you don't look too good. He's like, yeah, I just got done beating that bitch Kareem's ass. He's like, Kareem? He's like, where'd this happen? He said at his pharmacy. He said, oh, his stash. She said, his stash. She said, yeah, that whole shit, that's a front. That ain't real. He says, oh, so that's why. He says, so he starts to wonder, like, is that why Sharon didn't want to come with me? And Picky was like, don't know. So then, he says, okay, yeah, she knows because she's the one that cuts she's the one that cuts the weight. He's like, oh, so I'm really done with her. So I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna pack her stuff up and put it out on the street for her so she can come and pick it up. So then he's like, so yeah, when you find your boy Gunter, let him know I'm looking for him. He says, Gunter is in jail. He said, okay, so Gunter's in jail, and Ruth is dead. He said, what? Ruth is dead. He was like, you used a gun? He says, no, I did not use the gun. She got stabbed to death. And he says, and I didn't do it. He says, are you sure? He says, I did not kill that girl. I'm like, are you sure you didn't kill that girl? Because your mama thinks the otherwise. And we'll talk about Miss Nancy in a little bit. But he was like, she thinks otherwise. So then we see Sharon. So Sharon is trying to clean up Kareem. And you guys remember the Kareem told the lady to call the cops. So the cops did show up and they asked like, what happened? He said, yeah, just got into a fight with her boyfriend. And they were like, who's her boyfriend? She's like, Kareem, stop. Like, he's going through this whole stuff with his daughter being missing. And they were like, oh, so you're talking about Bartholomew. He said Bartholomew. That is funny, Bartholomew. Barry for Bartholomew? Why not Bart? Bartholomew. Okay, we're just gonna roll with the punches. And the police were like, oh, that's a good thing because we were looking for him anyway, so we're gonna go arrest him. She's like, wait, you're gonna go arrest him? He says, yes. Let me handle my business and you mind yours. And then he asked Kareem, if he has surveillance tape? He says, yeah, I got surveillance tape. So then we see Sharon. She calls Miss Nancy, but Miss Nancy didn't answer and then went to a voicemail. I'm just like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna arrest him for. They must believe that Barry has some kind of connection to Ruth's death. That's got to be the only thing that they can. But what proof would they have? Unless somebody left the knife in her, and they, took DNA sample. They took like fingerprints off of the knife, and it matched his. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So I'm going to probably talk about Jason twice in this review. So the first time we saw Jason, he went into Gail's room and he was asking Gail, so like, what would you do if I could get you out of this White House? She says, well, you cannot get us out of the White House because they're watching us like lab rats. So good try. So get the hell out. He says, no, what would you really do if I could get you out? Like, what is the price to pay? And he's a creep. So I'm like, I really hope he's not trying to, get sexual favors from his sister. Because, I mean, he's just really borderline creepy, Me Too movement-esque. Dude is just a creep all the way around. So basically, he tells her that, what they need to do is they need to create a distraction between Hunter and Victoria. And if they can get that, then, the Secret Service will come around and that'll leave them free to, wander about. And he says, I saw your computer and I know you want to see Picky because I know I saw that girl. And I'm like, wow, what a creep. So then we do see that, Jason and Gail execute their plan. So they're sitting, I don't know where they were sitting at, but then Hunter saw them and Gail was just wincing like, oh, it hurts. I'm like, what hurts? She was playing up on the whole fact that Victoria, tased her. I'm like, that was out from what they're making it seem like it was hours ago, but she's still playing it off like she's hurt. So Hunter asked her like, so what's going on? She said, Mom tased me. He said she tased you. She said she tased me. Yes, the bitch tased me. So Hunter's like, oh no, I gotta go check on this. So he goes into the room where Victoria is, and Victoria's on the phone. So he goes off on Victoria. He's like, you tased Gail? She says, yes. I tased her like a, what did she say? She didn't say an unarmed black man. She said something like a black man. And he was like, why would you do that? She says, because, he's like, that's our daughter. She says, oh, for 16 years she's been your daughter, but now all of a sudden she wants to be your daughter when I'm the one who has to deal with all that bullshit of that little girl. But yeah, I tased a little bitch and I'll do it again. So then they get into a heated argument and a fight with each other. So Victoria grabs a vase and she knocks the hell out of his ass over the head. And then he gets on top of her and she starts screaming. And Secret Service comes in and they ask Jason and Gail, like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, that's our parents and they're fighting. So, Victoria's just screaming for help. Help me, help me. And I'm like, Victoria, the way you fought him in the first episode and the way you fought the girl in last week's episode, you're no helpless doe. So you can literally get him off of you. And she did end up getting him off him. She need him. Or did she grab his balls, one of the two. So, she's just running around the room. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Victoria? Then out of nowhere, Victoria's crazy ass just runs right into the wall. I'm like, why did we do that? Why the hell did she run to that wall? So then at the close of the episode, we saw Victoria, she was in the kitchen and she had an ice pack to her. And she's talking about how, it hurts, how he treats her. And then there's a little Secret Service guy there by the name of Max who's been with them since the governor's mansion. And, she's coming on to Max. She's like, kiss me, Max. Make love to me. It's been so long. And Max was like, I'm a happily married man. So Victoria starts to unbutton him. And then she goes down on it. I'm like, I see where Gail gets it from now. Victoria don't like Gail because Gail is an exact representation of who she is. So I finally see it. Like Victoria, you don't like her because she represents who you are. You're looking straight dead in the mirror at yourself. I gotta get a new green screen. But yeah, Victoria, you're looking at yourself. So that's why you don't care for Gail. I mean, I get it. Oh, I also did forget to mention the reason why Hunter and Victoria really got into it so deeply is because he was talking about her threat assessment and he wanted her to read it. He was talking about how people view her as cold, a bitch, a brat, all that kind of stuff. He wanted her to read it. She's like, get that out of my face. So that's why they got into that fight, because he wanted her to read her threat assessment. I mean, she shouldn't be surprised. I mean, if people call her cold and a bitch, Victoria should not be surprised because, I mean, shit, we look at her every week and I call her cold. We look at her and say she's cold, she's calculating, she's a bitch. So, she shouldn't be too surprised about that. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, so let's talk about Miss Priscilla. I like Miss Priscilla, but I feel like there's something that's not quite right with Miss Priscilla. Because we saw Miss Priscilla, she went to go see Richard. Now, I know, when you friends, you do this, you rub on your friends and stuff like, pat them and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it just gave a little bit of a sexual vibe. And it just felt like there was something that was going on that might have happened years ago with Priscilla and Richard. And then, she's talking to him and she's saying that Sam is going to try to do everything that he can to help him get his job back. And, she also tells him that, I have something that'll make you feel good. He says, what is it? She tells him, yeah, the first lady, she tased that little girl. He was like, for real? She says, yes. He was like, why? He was like, because she was trying to leave the White House. And she said, I felt bad for her. But, the fact that she lied on Barry didn't, last too long with me. So then she asked him, so she was like, so yeah, we're going to get your job back. He says, I don't even know if I want that back. I want to deal with them. She says, don't say that. So then she asked him, like, so where is Nancy at? He says, oh, she's in the crib. She says, okay, I'm going to go in there and talk to her. He says, okay, but do not tell her anything that's going on. She says, Richard. He says, don't tell her anything. So Priscilla goes in there where Nancy is, and she's asking Nancy, how is she? And Nancy says, oh, I'm not good. She says, you know about what happened with little Callie? She says, yeah. And, she's like, well, did, Richard tell you it's because of me? And Priscilla tells her, like, hey, do not blame yourself. She's like, Ruth is trouble. She says, oh, she says, yeah. And also Ruth is dead. She says, she's dead? She's like, yep, she's dead. And she was like, so what are we going to do now about the baby? She says, well, Sam is on it, so Sam's going to help. And she says, well, she's a part of that cult. And that makes things, a little bit more difficult for us. So, Nancy asked her, so why is Richard home? She says, oh, he took the day off. She says, oh, so you're going to lie to me now. She says, we've never done that. And then Priscilla tells her, well, Richard has to be the one to tell you that. So then Richard does come in. He tells her, so I got fired. She's like, why did you get fired? He says, because the first daughter, she lied. And she said that, Barry raped her. And she's like, why would she do that? Because the little bitch is hateful. That's why the little bitch did it. And, Priscilla says, we're going to do everything we can to get his job back. We're going to do everything that we can to help bring Callie home. And then, Priscilla asked Richard, is there anything she can do for him? And he put his hand on, she put her hand on his and he put his hand on her. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I missing something? Like, it just felt like, I know that they're friends. I know that they've been friends for years, but it just kind of felt like a little something sexual was there. Like, I don't know if it's just me that saw it, but maybe it was. So then we see later Richard, he wants to go check on Nancy because Nancy says she's going to go pray to God. And he says to her, well, she says she's okay. He's worried about her heart. And she says, when you prayed to God, did God tell you anything? And, she just wonders why, Gil would lie. Who the hell knows why the little bitch would lie? So Nancy asked Richard, how far do you think that Beryl would go to protect this child? He says, I think he would go far enough. She says, what does that mean? He said, what are you asking? She said, do you think he would kill? He says, no. And then she's like, what are you not telling me, Richard? He says, well, he had a gun. And she was like, so where's the gun now? He says, I got the gun. She says, well, what about the knife? Do you have the knife? He says, what knife? She says, the knife that is missing from the kitchen. And he says, no, but again, he does not think that Barry would kill Ruth. Do I think Barry would kill Ruth? Yes. Do I think Barry killed Ruth? No. I feel like somebody in that cult might have got to Ruth, to be quite honest with you. I think Ruth may have, I wonder if Ruth may have came to her senses and said, you know what, this is not right, this is my child. Nope, I don't think she came to her senses, but let's move on, you guys. All right, so let's talk about Jason one more time, you guys. So we see Jean, she's in Jason's room and she's cleaning up. So Jason's old creepy ass comes in there. He asks her, like, what happened, what time are you getting off? She says, he asked her, what time was she getting off? And she says, I don't know. He says, so when are you going to take a vacation? She says, soon. Then he asked her about her car. She was like, how did you know? He says, oh, I was on the roof and I was looking through binoculars. She was like, so you're on the roof? He says, yes. So then she says, well, with that tour that you wanted, he says, so the lead usher's going to do it for you. He says, I don't want that. She says, well, I'm not going to be able to give you the tour. Jean, run for the fucking hills, girl. So then we see Jean that she's getting ready to leave. So Sam stops her, and Sam is asking her, so, is everything okay? She says, oh, Miss Priscilla must have told you everything. He says, yes, she did. She says, oh, he's just a harmless kid. A harmless kid? No, ma'am, he is not. That boy is a walking Me Too movement. He is a walking, predator. He's a walking, I wasn't gonna say child molester, but well, he could be a child molester. He's a predator. He's a creep. He's a oh God no, that is not harmless, not by any means. And she said she's fine. I said no, the hell you not. You are not fine. So then we see Jean. She goes home, and she gets out of her car. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, why do I feel like he followed her? He didn't follow her, but guess it's even worse. Little bitch Gail is in the back in the trunk, and she gets out and she's dressed as a maid with a horrible wig on. So then she calls Picky and she tells Picky, like, hey Picky, I'm coming to see you. He says, no you're not. He says, you have Secret Service around you. She says, no, I don't. She says, I'm alone, but I'm coming to see you. So then we do see Gail. She goes and she finds Picky, and Picky's like, wait a minute, how the hell did you get here? Like, you probably have people around you. She says, I do not. She says, I snuck out because my dumbass brother helped me. And, he says, she's like, I want to stay with you. He says, you cannot stay with me, girl. Like, you're going to mess up my operation. I'm like, your operation looks janky as it is right about now. So, I don't know how much more you can mess that shit up. But, she's like, do you have your vape? Because I want to smoke. And then she says, I'm horny as well. I'm like, no, we get it. Gail is 16. How old is fucking Picky? That's my question. How old is Picky? Picky looks like he's about, 20, 28, 29. And Gail is 16. How the fuck old is Picky? But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's talk about, so we saw Don and Hunter. So they were in the Oval and they were trying to go over business. And, yeah, while they're going over business, Hunter is not here for it. He's telling Don, like, you deal with everything. I'm like, you sound just like that dumbass president that's in the office now that I don't claim. And, he said someone else will do it. So then one of the staff members come in. She introduces Victoria. He says she really had you introduce her. She says yes. So Victoria comes in and, it's her and Lily there together. And, Don and Lily leave to give them some privacy. And she says, he's like, so you went shopping? She says, yes. I went to your horse shop that was here last night. And he said, what happened? She says, and I beat her ass. Yeah, you did beat her ass. So she says, so why don't you give her a call? He says, I have tried to call her, but she's not returning my calls. She's like, I thought it would have took at least 2 visits to get her out of here, but it was just 1. I'm like, Victoria, Victoria, Victoria. So then we see Don. So Don is asking Lily how things really went. She says, they were strange. She says, strange how? She says, She only want to talk about herself. And I'm just like, yeah, she's a narcissist. What do you expect from a narcissist? So then she asked about the intruder, and I'm just like, you know, you're making yourself like a little bit too obvious asking about this intruder. But Don gives her the rundown on, he said he's not married, he has no kids, and giving her his little history about Don. So then she was like, he asked her like, why do you keep asking about him? She says, I shot him in, and I just want to know about him. No, I wouldn't. If you were a true intruder in my crib, and I shot you, I don't give a fuck about you. You intruded. You asked for it. You got what you was asking for. But since we know that Lily slept with him, Lily is trying to clear her conscience. So then we see Lily out in the White House, and she bumps into Kyle. So Kyle tells her, oh, I was just getting ready to go see your husband, and then she was like, she's worried about the intruder, and she asks him, can they talk? He says, yeah, we can talk, but we can't talk right here, so I'm gonna call you a little bit later. So then we see Kyle, and he goes to see Don, and he's talking about want to talk to Don about his assignment. He says, okay, if that's the case, why don't you get assigned to someone else in the staff? He says, no, I want you. He says, which way do you mean? Like, do you mean as in working with me or romantically? We know that Kyle wants him romantically. And Don says, you know what, we cannot discuss that here or right now. So you have to go. Kyle paused. He was getting ready to leave, but he paused. He says, scooch, skedaddle. And he did leave. I'm just like, everybody on this show is a hot bit of mess. Like it's like a cesspool with all these people because everyone is sleeping with everyone basically. Actually, that is kind of it. Everybody is sleeping with everybody. We don't know about Jean. Jean ain't sleeping with nobody, but little creepy ass Jason wants to sleep with her. Or maybe rape her. I just don't know. It's just something off with that little nigga right there. But you guys, that was the episode. So be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, share the video, hit that bell notification button so you guys know when I drop anything, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.